Hey guys, Very Basic Bible with a good old BJ Allen and my tilted picture back there. No matter what I do to straighten it, it doesn't, and then it falls. Maybe it's straight, maybe it's just my eyes. But what are we going to talk about today? Very basic Bible topic. Which topic is it? You already know, because I'm going to title it afterwards. But for now, I'm going to go to a random verse, find a random word or phrase or idea, then we're going to look it up. We're not going to figure out everything about it. We're going to figure out some stuff about it, okay? This is to spur you on to further learning. I start showing you the right direction, then you learn further. Here we go, guys. Share screen. Let's see. Hosea 9. Do not rejoice, Israel, with jubilation like the nations. For you have been unfaithful, abandoning your God. You have loved the earnings of unfaithfulness on every threshing floor. Threshing floor and winepress will not feed them, and the new wine will fail them. Okay. You have loved the earnings of unfaithfulness. I want you to look in parallel. You have loved a prostitute's wages on all the threshing floors. Look at this parallel. You love to receive a prostitute's wages on all the floors where you thresh your grain. In aviary. Do not rejoice, Israel. Do not exult like the nations, for you have prostituted yourself, abandoning your God, loving a prostitute's fee upon every threshing floor. The threshing floor and winepress will not nourish them. The new wine will fail them. Who is the them? Maybe it's the prostitutes. Prostitutes' wages. I don't know. Do not rejoice, Israel. Do not be jubilant like the other nations. Maybe fail them as the other nations. I don't think so. For you have been unfaithful to your God. You love the wages of a prostitute at every threshing floor. Threshing floor and wine presses will not feed the people. The new wine will fail them. So the NIV thinks the them is the people. Israel, do not rejoice jubilantly as the nations do, for you have acted promiscuously. Okay, I'm going to go look at, there's a little star right here. Hosea 4:12. All right, yes, watch this. Hosea 4:12, the HS right here on the little star. 4:12. 4, let's go down to 12. Here we are in Hosea 9. Here, 4:12. My people ask a wooden statue of a god for advice. Why would you ask a piece of wood? God is a living God. Come on. He didn't even want David to build him a temple. He was like, but hey, I'll let Solomon build me a temple. God wanted to be their king. He didn't even want them to have a human king. He did give them one. But God's like, look, I'm your king. I'm living. You don't need idols. You don't need kings. I don't need a house. I'm God. My people ask a wooden statue of a god for advice. They get answers from a stick of wood. They are as unfaithful as prostitutes. They are not faithful to their God. My people have inquired of their stave, and their staff has announced to them, for the spirit of fornication, unfaithful. The spirit of fornication has deceived them, and they have been fornicating before their God. Look over here. 4, NASB, in the New King James Version. 4, the spirit of harlotry has caused them to stray, and they have played the heart of man. I can see why, promiscuously, to explain what's going on, right? NLT, super thought for thought, right? Almost non-literal. It is still a translation. So Okay, here we go. O people of Israel, do not reject as other nations do. Rejoice. Remember, I was like, reject, huh? Over here. Rejoice jubilantly. Exult, not like the peoples. Okay. Do not rejoice as other nations do. For you have been unfaithful to your God, hiring yourselves out like prostitutes, worshiping other gods on every threshing floor. Why are they worshiping other gods on threshing floors? You're supposed to give wine, you're supposed to give grain to God. Those are types of offerings. There's another video where I'm talking about, I'm talking about herds and flocks. Like, my cat just made a noise. Man, you hear this? Got to turn his toy off. My cat is playing with a fake toy, a fake fish, not a real fish, kind of like a fake god made out of wood. But my cat's not prostituting himself. Why? Because we snipped him. Yep. Good old neutered cat. Every threshing floor. Threshing floor is where you get wine and wheat. And you can give offerings to God of wine and wheat. They also would do stuff, they would things called raisin cakes. For some reason, some of the other gods really like raisin cakes. Maybe they thought that that was a place to offer raisin cakes. I'm just kind of trying to put two and two together. You know, the grain threshing floor. You'll have grain there. So now your harvests, because you were on every threshing floor, so now your harvest, which would fill your threshing floor, will be too small to feed you. There will be no grapes for making new wine. Okay, so you're going to go prostitute yourself on this on the threshing floor with other gods? Well, fine, then I'm not going to give you any wine or any food which would to go in that threshing floor. Right? Look over here. Threshing floors, NET, threshing floors and wine vats. ESV, threshing floor and wine vat shall not feed them, and the new wine shall fail them. Okay, threshing floor and wine press. So you're going to go to other threshing floors and you're going to play the prostitute. Okay, I'm going to make sure your threshing floors are empty. Man, God ain't playing no games here. Yeah. Verses 1 and 2. I mean, surely God loves them, right? Surely God's like, I'll forgive you. Let's read verse 3 just in case. They will not dwell in the Lord's land. Ephraim, another name for Israel, Ephraim is a large tribe in the northern part of Israel, the main tribe. So sometimes they call the whole thing Israel. They call the whole thing Ephraim sometimes. Maybe it's talking to the tribe of Ephraim, but most likely it's using it as a whole. It's using the name Ephraim for the whole land of Israel. Okay. They, whoever they are, Israel, I'm guessing, will not dwell in the Lord's land. Ephraim, they will return to Egypt, and in Assyria they will eat unclean food. Man. So they're not even going to get to stay in the land. God's going to send them back to Egypt. Remember, they were in slavery in Egypt. And God's saying in Assyria, they're not going to have threshing floor and wine vats. You want to play the harlot? You want to prostitute yourself out to other gods? Okay, I'll let you go to Assyria and eat their unclean food instead of eating food from the wine press, from the threshing floor. Israel must have screwed up big time. Okay, one more. Fussing at my cat. Sorry, guys. You know, here. Okay. I'm just going to read this. I'm just going to read these next two verses, and that's that, okay? They will pour libations of wine to the Lord. They will not pour libations of wine to the Lord. They will not pour out wine offerings to the Lord. And their sacrifices will not please him. Nor will their sacrifices please him. Okay. Their bread will be like mourner's bread that makes unclean all who eat it. Okay. Such sacrifices, their bread, will be to them like the bread of mourners. All who eat them will be unclean. Okay. Their food will be for their own appetite. It cannot enter the house of the Lord. The food will be for themselves. It will not come into the temple of the Lord. So God's not going to accept their sacrifices. He's saying, whatever food you have, it's not good for me. What will you do on the festival day, the day of the Lord's feast? Remember, don't appoint, don't be rejoice and be happy on the day. Okay. What will you do on the day of your appointed festivals, on the feast days of the Lord? What are you going to do? Don't rejoice like them. What are you going to do? Why? Because you're going. Why am I asking what you're going to do? You're not going to have any food and any wine. The food you have is going to make you unclean. You're not going to be able to sacrifice to me. What are you going to do on your festival days? Right? That's what he's saying. Hey, guys, my cat just jumped in my lap. You can see his ears there. I'm going to go ahead and call this one to a close. I hope you know that God does love Jerusalem and Israel and does want Israel to come back, of course. But hey, when you forsake God, he hasn't forsaken you, you've forsaken him. I guess that's what that's saying in very, very, very ancient language about with wine presses and vats and harlotry and food, bread of uncleanness, and you're going to go to Egypt and Assyria, very poetic ways of saying it. All right, guys, see y'all on the next Very Basic Bible.